SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast, episode number 39. I am your host, Neil of SFJ4x4.com. Simpson Family Jeeps, my lovely, attractive, stylish, non-dancing,
Yeah, it's true.
could not cut a rug,
Nope.
the mad,
Scientist?
bad,
No.
no.
Other than I do use chrome sockets on the impacts. Chuck. I almost took a picture and sent it to him this morning.
Right. Good morning, Keith from Roanoke, Virginia. I love it. Thank you for joining us. Yeah, I love that Chuck tagged us into how she likes a bad boy and
Uses chrome sockets.
uses
impacts.
chrome sockets on his
Well.
impact.
Maybe.
And he tagged us, and I was like, Scott's the baddest. He's such a bad boy. Oh, my goodness. So, self-admittedly, folks, I have not sufficiently caffeinated this morning. So, please bear
I'm on
with
my
it.
low test like normal.
Your low test. Everybody should be into substantial amounts of caffeine at their life.
No.
Speaking of, the Toledo Jeep Fest videos, the recap, the vlog is live on YouTube. Man,
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
and the ugly. And I may or may not throw a man hissy fit. And you'll have to go in and find that. Those actually were very fun to see people's reactions and the views and the comments come in over the weekend. And we did actually sit down and enjoy those. I watched them myself with the family, because the kids weren't there, you know what I mean? So they like to see what we do and our approach and whatnot. So, and you can totally see Davey the Savage Thompson get smoked in a Walmart grocery cart race by a couple individuals, and God bless them for indulging us and choosing to actively race us in their Walmart carts.
And no groceries were injured in the making of that video.
And we did pay for the finish line, just so everybody knows. We did. We paid. We may or may not, and we may have opened a fresh roll of paper towels
Can't prove it.
to make a finish line.
My wife could write a book about things that get opened and ate before they get paid for.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a Walmart chicken snacker. I am a Walmart chicken snacker.
And sometimes
No.
when the kids are throwing a fit,
No.
she'd prefer you would do that. Just let the child eat.
Just let them do it.
Just pay for it
Wait,
when you're done.
Italian Stallion, you're popping in here. Are you not a Walmart chicken eater?
No, I'm not until I pay for it.
I don't either, but that's
Well,
just because my
here's the
wife's
thing.
been in grocery retail for her whole life.
And I'm okay to be wrong. And there might be some sanitation issues with this.
Yeah.
But if I carry the package and I scan out an empty package, am I wrong?
No. Sort of. Maybe.
Why? Why can't I? I'm paying for the product.
Because there's so many people that don't.
That's true.
Okay. So,
But that doesn't make him guilty, Jeff.
but that doesn't make me guilty. And I'm
No,
not.
but it's a lot harder for the staff to track whether or not you're actually paying for a wrapper.
Have you been to Walmart
Yeah,
lately?
unfortunately,
Do you
I think
anybody's
I
actually
don't-
tracking anything?
hey,
Yes, they
Walmart,
are.
corporate Walmart, corporate Aldi, they're tracking, but they're not. That is theft. Keith is, but I'm paying for it. No,
After the fact.
well, I mean, I rarely eat the entire thing. I'm a chicken snacker.
So what I hear is Neil needs not to go to the grocery store on an empty stomach.
I don't hardly go to the grocery store. I gotta be honest with you.
You do pickups?
The you know what, pickups and the Instacart.
Yeah.
Instacart. Though Amy's stories do
Yeah.
scare me a little bit.
Yeah.
And our dairy goods tend to always go bad.
Yeah.
Sooner than anticipated.
Yeah.
I have concerns over how often they
You got to think about what that person's making an hour and how much they care about your food.
I know.
We've had pretty good luck with it.
We have had overall very good luck. It's just we have to be very conscientious about about how our dairy specifically is kept. But I don't mind it. And you meet some nice people. They pull in their car, and some people pull in with Beamers, and some people pull in with a minivan in the shape of or parts in the shape of a minivan.
Yes, that's true.
So. All right, so there's a lot going on, so we should not talk about Instacart because this is the I Speak Jeep podcast, and we are finally going
Can
to
you get
have
a Jeep on Instacart yet?
Ooh.
Vroom,
I guess.
Zoom, all of those type web-based purchasing products. I don't know. Carvana.
Yeah.
Carvana. See, this is the society. It's speeding up. People want to do everything from
their.
their.
Do a crawlover inspection with us if you do that.
You should.
Just saying.
Should that crawl and if you're unfamiliar with the crawlover
Meet the
inspection,
delivery truck right here at the shop.
Right?
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
Right.
Don't
Have
sign
them-
anything until we've checked
have
it
it
over.
delivered right to us. Have it delivered right to us. Absolutely. So episode 39, we are going to get into the nitty gritty, the hard concept of mud terrain versus all terrain tires.
But are we?
We are. If I stay the course, I'm not gonna lie. I have got a couple things I want to talk about.
What do you want
Of
to bet?
course you do.
What do you want to bet on this, Jeff?
And
We
then
might get 10 minutes of talking about tires.
and then hashtag not sponsored. We are talking about Vanna White Hands from Scott. What is it?
Holly Retro Bright
So that's right. Holly,
does headlights.
the carburetor company,
Yes.
is doing headlights. Now, it's important to note, if you're listening, if you're viewing, if this is your first time, Holly is so much more than a carburetor company at this
they
point.
are huge at this point.
They're coming for everybody.
Yes.
And so they obviously are world-class leading fuel injection, ignition. They are doing acquisition of other products to build their portfolio. This is their most recent, automotive aftermarket product, the
Yep.
headlight product.
And we'll tell you what I think of it.
And it's DOT approved.
Yep.
Isn't that fascinating?
Mhm.
That's what Holly brings to the table.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about MTs and ATs. And the reason we're going to talk about that, but not yet, is because we deal with it constantly. And I promise you that I'm very passionate and I'm very fired up about something that Jeep Chrysler, the mothership, does to us. So understand that's on the radar.
I was touched.
Well, you know what? I haven't even been touched. It's our customers.
It was by second hand.
It's our
touching.
customers constantly.
It makes it worse because it was second hand touching.
I don't even know where we're going.
Where-
with this.
Scott, what do you want to tell us about the weekend?
He's got some stories.
Oh my gosh! All right, so here's the thing.
Some things.
Here's some things. Here's the thing, right? We had a busy weekend, right? For company, personal, professional, so on and so forth. Let me just give you the quick rundown. If you're listening, and Scott and I have some long-term personal projects that are outside of the Jeeps going on. I am, of course, building a tiny house or a smaller house. But I'm not, because this week I was issued a stop work order by our local authorities. Yep.
Come to find out, height is also the footprint of the house.
Yes. Yes. So we added some height without changing the actual pitch or elevation. See, that's a confusing statement for me. You cannot change pitch or elevation of the roof.
What makes it sad is I told him if you were fast, would have happened. Like it would have been done. They would have showed up and be like, sorry.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. I'm not.
he's
because
not very fast.
I'm insisting on doing it all myself at this point.
every nail.
Every nail at this point. I am personally acquainted to each nail that goes into this house.
Yes.
And
He talks to him as he puts them in.
And
good nail.
And
All of my house.
and I watch these framers and carpenters on on Insta and YouTube and whatnot, and they have these tips and tricks to like bend wood around real quick and kind of make it conform
About the
to
ones
their.
that have the magnet on the hammer that holds the next nail, and they just automatically feed the nail.
Yeah, it was spectacular.
I just don't know how that happens. It's
And
magic.
then they have like things that are just like cobbed in, and I'm like, I can't have cobbed in. Like I need it to be true, so
Yeah.
I've got wood clamps out
I've
there
got
on my
myself
studs.
over that problem.
I've got wood
You're
clamps.
not- no,
I'm wood
no.
clamping my studs
Holy cow!
So
this
that
is why
they-
your house isn't built
so
yet.
that they are as true. They are as true to each other and the structure as possible.
That's a good fitting note to talk about what I did this weekend.
Oh,
Don't you
yeah?
think, Jeff?
It is. Yeah, I agree.
It's only 12 years in the making.
Oh, what's that?
I have a
Oh.
windowsill in my bedroom.
Hey.
You'll notice that I did nothing with the drywall. Nothing. Past Scott did some bad things to that drywall, I will admit. And what happened was my wife's like, we should honestly put away the Christmas decorations.
Oh God. Oh God. You're Christmas. What?
Why are you
Why?
putting them away at this point?
Just leave them out.
At this point,
It's September.
you don't do Halloween.
Well, we haven't
Whatever.
been for that. We've realized, so we have like 10 Christmas bins because my wife really likes Christmas.
So just start early. Nobody's judging.
At this point,
So she's like,
You went 8 months with it out.
We did.
You're literally longer on the backside than you are on the front side.
We also put away some Valentine stuff, which we realized we don't have a bin for. And Thanksgiving is obviously just fall because we have a fall bin, but no Thanksgiving. And we definitely need another Christmas bin. I'm just saying because holy crap, did we gather some stuff. And there may or may not have been stuff we bought because we didn't know we still had stuff because it went missing, but it was actually put away. Crazy thought.
Oh my God, it was actually where it belonged.
So I had been moving this wood for this windowsill around for a while, and then we had bought it again because I don't know. So what you see there is a combination of wood from the first purchase and the second purchase. So I'm calling that a win.
Congratulations after 12 years.
But I definitely need a nail gun because that little box on the windowsill there is little nails. And I was
they're little
hand-
finish nail. You were finish nailing
And
it.
that sill is oak.
Nope.
Nope.
No,
So I
so
drilled-
much nope.
I drilled pilot holes first because I kept bending the nails over.
Drill pilot so that he could hand finish nail things.
God.
Did your drill?
Scott.
Did you use the hand crank drill?
My
Where
wife mentioned about using a level, and I was like, no, this is just getting plumbed up to what's there. I don't even want to know.
But nails aren't supposed.
Hey,
the
it's
purpose
not
of a nail.
drywall screws. Hush.
Yep. Oh
You've
my
been better
God.
off with that.
That's all right. So that's what my wife with she's upset. Of course she doesn't watch this, so it doesn't matter. So she's upset at me right now because she's like, I don't want to live in construction for the next 10
Wait.
years.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about the construction. Scott actually learned how to do woodwork. He routered the edges. You
I
see
did.
that?
I
Did
used
you?
a router.
Look how
Yeah.
Whose router did you use?
I think I got it from either her dad or her grandpa. I'm not sure. But I actually knew where it was, and this is the next
fact
funny
that
part.
he knew how to use it is what I'm blown away
I'm
by.
so I'm surprised.
I bought some router bits before I was with my wife. Let's just put that in perspective.
So back in middle
the,
school,
the garbage you come up with.
And it was
I was 12 and I bought router bits.
and I knew where they were, and they were still in the box. Where my dad had wrote,
You met Amy at middle school dance. Let's just go.
and where my dad had wrote on the box, home year sale, $12.99.
Home year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You remember those traveling
Yes,
tools?
yes.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Yeah.
How
my
long
dad
have they not been around?
Oh my dad and I would get the fold out paper.
Oh, yes.
And he would go through and he'd circle things, and then
Yes.
he'd like kick the dresser for his loose change, and
Yes.
and a couple crumpled dollar bills out of his pocket.
All those expiring contractors would show up and buy his tools.
And it would be at the American Legion,
Yes.
or like a middle
And it
school
would break
gymnasium
a week and a half later.
without question.
Yes. I finally used those router bits.
And was it like a Beaver 9 on the wood? I mean,
I'm not saying I did it right. It looks okay.
okay.
And I used my metal file to file down some edges on it because I don't have wood files.
You should if you routed it right, you don't need to file it.
If you routed it doesn't need filed.
Let's talk about that. 'Cause,
Did you try to take it all in one bite, or did you do?
Maybe.
Oh Jesus! Incremental.
I love it.
I
love it.
I did the first plunge cut, and I was like, man, this is really splintering. Maybe I should do this and pass this. I don't care.
Folks, if you're listening, if you're watching right now, we support you. Try something new. Go out and try something new today.
The benefit of wood projects, you can burn it when it doesn't work out.
That's not where I was going with this.
But you can.
But you can.
I mean, it's fun to burn that stuff.
It is.
But we support you, right? Have fun with it, own it, and try something new. It doesn't have to be perfect. That's the whole idea.
You like my drywall.
Except for don't burn your Jeep down.
Have to be
Your drywall.
Don't do electrical.
Yeah, I was gonna
Bring
say
that to us.
Code enforcement things. Maybe ask somebody before you raise the height of your roof.
Yeah.
Pitch your elevation
Before
doesn't
you make
change.
studs that are 1.5 feet wide, read a book.
No, wait a second. Wait,
No.
just a
There
hot second.
are purposes for those studs. It's when you do it every other set of studs that becomes
It
a
is.
problem.
It is.
No.
Scott, get a hold of that wooden Jeep.
No.
So, without question, all right. So, Chuck, thank you for joining us. So, and he noted about these lights that like a 747 landing light, it needs 8 of. He needs 8 of those. Chuck likes his lights.
He does.
If you don't know, make sure you go find it on our YouTube channel, My Adventures to Toledo Jeep Festival. You find the coolest things, and we could probably sometime just talk about prototype vehicles and stuff that's been squirreled away.
I don't know if that wooden Jeep was prototype, though.
No, absolutely not. But my opinion is that's somebody who was working in or around and saw like the engineers doing stuff and was like, I could do that.
But I don't have a metal shop.
No, he's an excellent carpenter.
Yes.
And we've seen that throughout history with other platforms, other vehicles.
I'm the other way. Yeah.
That was a spectacularly built wooden Jeep. So, we'll mention that I attempted my own project-wise. I attempted to rebuild one of my 4-wheelers for my child this weekend, and I of course made it run, which was awesome.
That's 100% improvement.
100% improvement over where it was or what it was doing. But then I had this really nice fancy wiring harness that I had purchased off of Amazon for this little 110 import.
Extreme sadness.
Yeah. And I was like, hey, this is going to be fun. This is good. This is, I hate to have some janky wiring in there. So I'll put the whole wiring harness in. And then my kid will just have a nice, reliable, streamlined. It'll just hit the key, and it'll run, and it'll be all good.
I had this fantasy about a year and a half ago.
Mine's
sitting in the
I have
building.
no ignition now. Yep.
That's why it needs race car
So
toggle
you made
switches.
it work, and then you broke it again.
I made it
Toggle
work,
switches.
and then I broke it again. Why does this have to have all these safety overrides? There's 3 separate circuits running. It's almost like a CAN bus system where it's like
now it doesn't run, so he's very safe. No injury will happen now.
oh, that's boring.
I agree. That's boring.
So I was real geeked up. I got it running. We were excited, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and finish this up and get the
We
all
will
the
trade
stuff.
our China 110 4-wheelers for an old 1980 Honda 250. Just
Amen.
putting that out there.
Amen. Good quality stuff. Good quality stuff. And then the other piece that I probably am most excited about. You know what? We were talking about doing wood, and I'm going to ask. Well, no. Oh.
See, this is what we deal with, people. 3 squirrels happened at one moment.
I was gonna say, I have
I'm over
no
here.
idea where he's
Wait,
going right now.
Over there. Wait a minute. Oh, I just saw this.
So we were
Let's do
talking
this.
about doing home projects, right? And all that kind of jazz, and you doing your windowsill. I'm actually soliciting opinion here, right? So I had somebody come look at. I have a 10-foot by 12-foot deck. 10 foot by 12 foot. I asked for a quote on power washing and then a repaint on the above portion of the deck, right? The underside and like the 4x4 posts and everything like that.
When he first said power washing, I'm thinking $500. And then he said paint. And I was like, that just tripled.
Oh, paint's ridiculous.
We're at
right now.
$1,500 to $1,800.
Really?
You're talking $250 for a 5-gallon bin of paint right now.
I told him he could use the bargain paint. I did.
Okay, so
understand.
bargain exterior paint right now is $200 for a 5-gallon.
Chuck, I'm in a lot of stuff at once, man. Come on. It's not the ADD podcast. It is supposed to be
We're
I
not
speak
diagnosed.
Okay. So an $850 quote you think is good to power wash and paint.
That's because you
deck.
used a bargain paint.
Yes, for a bargain paint, that's where you're.
I don't
be.
need the deck painted that bad.
You know what I hear? Boy, your son needs a paintbrush, and it
So
can be a
I
bonding
have a
moment.
power washer. Just saying.
I have a power washer
He
as
does
well.
too.
I don't have time. And I want to sell this house. You know what I mean? And I want a person to walk up. There's a beautiful new garage door. I've got a beautiful
Do not
new
look
metal
at the
roof.
quality of the paint that we applied.
I just wanted a paint. He said, no, it's good paint. I was able to grab it like on a clearance. Like it was, and we've run into that before. We get
totally.
a good product. It's just somebody's overstocked or whatever. He's like, yeah, if I can pick the color, it's brown.
Yeah, I think he was definitely giving you a
That's
deal.
a good deal.
You think that's a good price?
Yeah.
Man, I really thought a 10 by 12. I mean, that's
You
not
don't want to
big.
know before COVID what my in-laws paid to have their house painted.
I don't, obviously. All right. So I'm going to move on to the number one thing that excited me this weekend.
Ooh.
It's this. Okay. So those of you who are listening, you can't see. I am holding it's kind of a floppy, front and back book. But this is the Peterson's 4-Wheel and Off-Road HP Books Chassis and Suspension Handbook. And this book changed my life. And so I got this book as a present from my parents when I was in high school. And this actually...
So we all use stuff we've got in high school today, this weekend.
Look at that. Yes. Yes, you and your router bits. And this is the book. So if you've met me and you kind of know how geeked up I am about suspension geometry and, kind of axle and articulation, maintaining traction on and off the trail and whatnot, it is because of this book. This is the original one. And it was in a tote because obviously we're trying to prep to move and pack and whatnot. And this was in like a tote from like my childhood, keepsakes. And I was just like, this is the coolest thing because this is the book that did it for me.
I noticed the coffee stain on it. No surprise there.
No surprise there. And because honestly, this thing, I carried this around for like all through my college and young adult
life. I think we have
life.
a picture of when he received that book, don't we, Joe?
Oh, probably. Let's see. Is this what we're talking about here? Right here?
Oh, no, that's younger Neil than that. So this weekend, and speaking of who would have gifted me this book, that was 100% my dad, right? So a lot of people, they hear the name Simpson Family Jeeps, they think that it's some type of
we actually had to explain that this weekend.
Family ownership. Who'd you have to explain it to? Oh, like a customer or something?
Customer.
Oh, that it's not.
Me and Greg were just adopted.
Oh, sure. Well, and people will think like, oh, hey, it's like a dealership or it's generational and it's been passed down, Nope. No, I mean, honestly, I was 22 and I was paying homage to my family who was very supportive and we liked doing things together. And so my dad there, we got out, and really we can credit him because he was the one who gave, kind of gave me the tools for, social emotional success to endure business. His dad was a great farmer and factory worker and that kind of stuff. He, wasn't going to do what we did. And at this point, we were celebrating my dad's 70th birthday yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
We threw a dance party.
That I did not dance at.
You were a lame.
My wife danced.
Your wife
with a lame hip. She danced.
Yeah, she did awesome, and your kids danced, and they had a nice time. Your kids did a nice time. My dad, for his 70th birthday party, and big happy birthday to him. He asked for a dance party with his family.
He did.
I thought that was just super fun, and a big shout out to our Italian Stallion who provided the DJ equipment. Really, so we appreciate that. So, a lot of fun. A lot of fun was had, and that picture was me like in 3rd grade. Thank you very much.
There was awesome pictures on every table.
There was
family memories, and that one was on my table. So
was that on your table?
It was. And Amy's like, you should take a picture of that and put it on the podcast.
My parents threw good parties. Absolutely. My parents knew how to throw a party.
Yes.
That's what we did.
We had so much macaroni and cheese.
Oh,
so much.
Good food.
And 2 different types of meatloaf.
Oh, meatloaf, mac and cheese. You got to top your mac and cheese with bacon and onions and chips. And
nobody was judging.
French onion. Oh, man.
Because it's cheesecake.
That's
it was
amazing.
Oh, and then there was top your own cheesecake. Yeah. And we're talking, this was really just like family. You know what I mean? Like this wasn't some big community brouhaha. We were just getting together to have fun together. So,
yep.
All right. You ready to talk Jeep stuff? It's really not even Jeep stuff. It's truck stuff.
Yeah.
It's all Jeep stuff, right? Because it's a Jeep life, right? Oh, Jeffrey, you should say something about Northwest Jeepcast.
Oh, Northwest Jeepcast. So episode 389, they just dropped on Saturday, and it was actually from when we interviewed them at Bantam. They do an amazing job talking about the experience at Bantam ahead of time with us and how they were not intentionally interrupting our interviews.
They were.
So you can listen to his side of the story. Is interesting, his perspective of things and how the show went and finding us and doing the interview. Afterwards, they talked a little bit about their being the #1 podcast, of course.
Mm-hmm. Sure they did.
Lies.
But they agreed that we one-upped them with the video podcast, and they were complimenting all of our nicknames with the Mad Scientist, and they associated that right to Doc Brown.
Oh, sure. Sure.
It's by design.
Yep.
So that's they kind of figured that out on air. It was interesting.
That's my favorite movie.
So they did a great shout out though to us and telling everyone to check out our YouTube and stuff. And same goes for them.
Same, absolutely.
Check out their podcast. They have a great show.
And if you're as you're getting to know me, you'll say I'm really just a child, and so and I'm not easily impressed by pretty much anybody. But they really do a great podcast, and so I made sure to say that to them. I was like, "Hey, I'm excited that you guys are here. I heard, I listened to your podcast that you were, doing this big trip across the country, and I am excited to see you. I'm, and you know what? And it didn't fail. They were cool, and we had a nice time chit chatting with them at Bantam, and I wish them the best." In all of their Jeep off-road and podcast pursuits.
I think my favorite thing that they talked about was at the end, they were discussing how, obviously they were the better podcaster, talking themselves up kind of thing.
Sure.
But they did admit that we're the mechanics. They're mechan hacks, as they put it. And they said that they'd never be as good as us under a Jeep. So
there we go.
Very nice of them.
Nice shout out from them, right?
And that's Gary and Gary that run that podcast.
Yes. Yeah, good dudes. So speaking of being mechanics, being the functional Jeep experts of the industry, mud tires don't belong on your stock Jeep.
Nope. Bad Chrysler. Naughty.
Bad Chrysler.
Naughty.
Mothership needs to go back and reevaluate her priorities.
And we see so many wounded mud terrains from so many things on stock Jeeps.
I see Chuck was asking a question too while we were doing that.
All right.
Was Jeep supposed to be partnering with an aftermarket company for something in Toledo?
I'm not sure what you're asking, Chuck. Can you elaborate in your
so lots
question
of times
to
the
us?
OEs will do it on the QT
100%.
and not actually tell you, because then when it goes bad, they didn't do it.
And I can totally elaborate on that, but I'm not going to just pontificate without specificity.
Oh dear!
With the intention to try and keep the train on the tracks.
Now, real quick
really
though, I
wants
want
it
Scott to try to repeat that whole sentence.
No. Negative, Red Rider. Do we have tires to talk about?
We do have tires to talk about. Let me tell you, your KM2 mud tire is the worst tire that Jeep Chrysler Company could have ever put on a bone stock application
What's worse
vehicle.
is they custom made the tread for it.
I did.
Let's just think that sink in for a minute.
Or at least they've I don't know if they custom made the tread necessarily, but they certainly. Do you feel like that's the case?
The one for the JK, they did. They made it our own tread. It wasn't on. It was not like anything.
Right. I was going with like an
Aftermarket.
exclusivity. You know what I mean? So did they make it for the Jeep, or did Jeep require an exclusive tread design?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. You know what? I understand that answer.
That's why the floor mats match the tires.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
But I gotta tell you, back when they were doing that, we didn't have customers come in and be like, "You know what we really need? Some more BFG mud trains." It was like, "Can we get these things the heck off my vehicle, please?"
Without question.
Now they have Falcons on them, and they come in and they go, "You know, I really like my Falcons.
Yes.
Do they make them in bigger sizes?"
Yes.
Yes, they do.
So here's the difference, folks. So the last one are the Firestone Destination MTs, which are still on
still
JL.
too soon. I just can't.
Okay, I know, but we're gonna have to talk about our oppressor.
It needs talked
Okay,
about.
we have to talk about our oppressor. To heal, in order to heal, we have to
it's
talk
only
about
been
our.
like what 95 when that all went down. I still
Still too soon. Still too soon. All right, so we'll have to.
Were
go
you
back.
a
right?
victim of Firestone?
No, I just
No,
remember.
but the whole country was a
remembered it's
victim of
I
Firestone,
know.
whether or not we want to admit it or not.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, right? Let's circle back to. Let's go all the way to the YJ TJ era. Okay,
Back when explorers were doing things.
we had a Goodyear Wrangler. Our primary tire that would have come on our Jeep was a Goodyear product,
Yes.
almost across the platform. It came in about 3 different sizes.
Yeah. Small, smaller, and smallest.
And it was pretty underwhelming, mainly because, our Jeeps were reasonably underwhelming as far as performance and,
Yes.
horse purrs and all that kind of good stuff. So moving forward, we get the Rubicon in 2003, and all
what
of
did
a
they
sudden,
put on it? Goodyears.
Goodyear, MTRs, right? And it wasn't technically an MTR.
Remember when those? Well, it was.
It was an MT.
It said MTR on it.
Was it an MTR? I thought it was. I
believe
knew
so.
it was an MT for certain.
Pretty sure it was the first generation. But anyway,
It was. It was.
That's what started the whole weird double pattern was the second generation. But anyway, I remember I was a Cherokee guy at that point, and
Mhm.
everybody was in love with Rubicon takeoffs. Because the first thing you do when you buy a Jeep is remove the wheels and tires, no matter how good they are.
Absolutely.
So we were, people are wedging any piece of wood they could in their Jeep to get it tall enough to put the stock.
I
Rubicon
love that
tires
people
on there.
still, like JL people at this point, are like, well, my tires are new, so I don't want to change them yet. You see it
Yeah.
on forums,
Yeah.
the old Facebook all the time
We
now.
ripped that Band-Aid off 30
Like,
years ago.
Get out of here. That Bridgestone Dueler, yeah, that's great. Give it to somebody else, man.
Yeah.
You're not getting more than $400 out of them. So,
No, you're not.
but they're brand new.
And they'll blow out on the road going to a trail.
Yeah,
That
you
happens.
you have personal experience on that one.
I was
Yeah.
not happy.
So the Goodyear, the Rubicon takeoffs. Also, we did not rotate. We did not do a 5-tire rotation as an
No.
industry then.
Nope.
It doesn't make any
What's
sense
a
to me.
rotation? They rotate when you go down the road, right?
Right. And that
Yeah.
was how were we that why did our industry think that? Like I'm mad at our industry when I look back 30 years ago to
Old man things.
yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
want and I was trying to explain this to somebody at Toledo 2 weekends ago about the fact that we did not do a 5-tire rotation. You didn't put that spare on the ground because I wanted that spare needs to be brand new for when I have an emergency. What? That doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
That doesn't make
Remember
sense.
the full-size temp spares?
Yes.
That was a thing.
Yep.
Thank God those days are over.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Just run a full size spare.
Yes.
And rotate it in.
Please.
Extend the life of your Jeep.
It shouldn't
by
be the
your
life
tire.
cycle of a tire on the back of your Jeep.
No.
We have a YouTube video talking about the
We
5-tire
do.
rotation.
We do.
And Jeff does a great job of it.
He does. And we should. And we obviously have the diagram and we use all that. And
Yep.
if you're doing your tire rotations, maybe, just maybe, can I, for a second, accept that a true solid mud terrain belongs on your daily driven Jeep? However, the reality is many of your average consumers, people who are showing up at the dealership, 10 years ago or today that have never been off-road, and they see that Willys package, they see that Rubicon package, they're like, oh, that's cool. And then, of course, you have the salesman who's like, see this baby right here? This here Rubicon.
She can go off-road.
She can go off-road. And then, the average consumer's like, well, off-road does sound fun.
Yes.
I would like to go through a
dirt
ditch.
road once.
Yeah. Well, this will get you down that dirt road better than other ones.
Yes.
Oh, my God. Get out of here.
Well,
So-
and consumers love the aggressiveness, the look of those tires,
And
Yes.
without
I
question.
can understand.
without understanding what that actually means.
But I have
And that
to
is
say,
that
I
is a
cannot
perfect
wait
way to
to get
sum that
the
up.
mud trains off my wife's CJ7.
Well, so let's circle back a little bit and just my dad taught me, the thing about our community and the Jeep community is people love the perception of what they can do with their Jeep. Now, I
Yes.
know a lot of our viewers, our listeners, our customers are functionally using are functionally using their Jeeps. And so you might be listening to us and thinking, yeah, but that benefits me. That's true. It might. But there's a lot of people who are just attracted to the idea of their Jeep, the rugged individualism that our brand offers.
Yeah.
Are they actually ever going to use it? So Joe Harper says he's doing 12 to 20 trips, off-road trips a year, hashtag not average, hashtag MT only, which I agree 100%. Because he's not average.
I'll even go out and say you do 5 off-road trips a year because I feel like I'm in that qualification. And I have muds on my JK, but I bought a quality mud, and I just admit the fact I'm going to use them up, and I'm going to rotate them a lot.
Yes. So here's the thing, and it's important to know, those who are listening, I've kind of purposely left this off the table to this moment. There is something now called a hybrid tire.
Yep.
And the hybrid tire really took the market by storm around 16 is when we start seeing this. So we're just in toddler era of these hybrid tire design. And that's typically going to be your Toyo Open Country your RT, the General Grabber X3, the Cooper STT Pro, Technically, the BFG KM3 has swung further over into the hybrid design. Yours actually arguably are an MT, but again, they kind of fall, suit with the
hybrid.
with the hybrids.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people who maybe have just gotten in the community within the last decade and really have gotten a kind of a big push, you might just be aware and be thinking, well, those are my MTs. I've got something. Well, that's not actually a true MT. And our experience with MT starting 20 plus years ago or further were these big, solid lug tread design with a hard compound.
Hashtag bogger.
Hashtag bogger, right? And so
remember those old 80 square body Chevys and Fords of the same era that always had to have Thornbirds or boggers, and they never saw a pebble, let alone.
Oh my God, absolutely!
And they would. Oh, those tires would get destroyed.
Oh, and my favorite. I mean, obviously,
I was a big for 3 miles away,
without question. And I was a big Truck Nationals guy, right?
Oh, yeah.
So
you had to have
those, and they had to have
all
the shine on them, all the tire shine.
Yeah, do the tread too, because it was
I used to love on the used side of things. People would be like, "They were on my show truck for 5 years," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, but you
didn't drive it.
You didn't drive it, and that's what their purpose was. They're going, there's no miles," and I'm thinking, "Yeah, but there's also they're going to be dry rotted. I'm going to be able to see the air in them
rock
because so much tire shine has drawn the oils, the natural oils." Now, and this is an important differentiation, is that with the Goodyear MT. And say a hard compound traditional, say like the Groundhog series mud tires of the 80s and 90s.
Generational tires. You could sell those, buy those, and your grandson was still using those Groundhogs.
The difference is actually in the composite, the actual durometer of the rubber. And so the Goodyear, as a brand, typically offers a more supple, softer, and better traction aiding rubber compound than your insert here, big heavy lug mud tire.
Yeah, and if you're using those soft tires appropriately, I'd say you get a year, maybe a year and a half, 2 years max If you're actually using them for their intended purposes.
And so insert a conversation about my wife's tires, and we're running the Cooper STT Pros. Cooper, as a company, additionally offers a softer compound. Arguably, they are actually one of the softest compound tires that are DOT approved, on the market. And of course, I have been lamenting her, I don't know, $450 37s because she hasn't shut her Jeep off in a year and a half. And we've got, I don't know, 35,000 miles on it. The tires are smoked, and granted they're not smoked, but they're at 40% life left.
Yeah.
Because they're a soft tire, and they're
about ready for that guy that says, "Let me do something."
Absolutely. I mean, I was seriously looking at going into winter, and I'm going, I got to switch her tires out, And so why is this and what is this as we continue? So the reason the Goodyears were so successful, in my opinion, and I can't go back and look at that original
successful
under the Rubicon. Under that original 2000s Rubicon, they were soft at first.
Yeah,
is my opinion. And then the Goodyear, the actual ATs they were running on everything were reasonably soft tires. And then by the time, the problem with that is the average consumer doesn't like to go through their tires. Because if you have to part ways with that $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, you're like, these things better last.
Yeah.
Okay, the reality is they don't. No. And that is, of course, why the 5-tire rotation became popular, because that's the only way to make them actually last.
Yeah. Give your tire a break.
You got to give them a break. And any tire, especially when it's a heavy, hard rotational piece, the shock, spring rate, so on and so forth, that tire will develop a memory.
Yes.
And so you have to put it in a different position to smooth, flatten, stretch, elongate, whatever, however, right? So that is important when it comes to making those tires last. Now, in the absence of those two, mindsets, what do? You put a KM2 on a JK.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we look at the KM2, or we look at the Firestone that's on the JL Willys package at this point, Willis.
The JT Willis package has Falcons on it. Last I knew.
But they're
doing
MT. They're an MT crossover, though, right?
No, that's it's an all-terrain.
Oh, it is the AT.
I'm thinking they're doing things with towing, though, because
agreed.
I don't know the mud is best for towing.
Right. And then as far as Jeffrey, don't put that up on the screen.
This is Chuck.
I know. Said it to me. I know, but I'm struggling in my own right.
You're giving him a huge nut for that squirrel to get.
We'll switch back to this, and when you're
ready,
ready,
just 2 seconds, right? For stinking 2 seconds.
The tires.
It's the ADD episode again.
Yes, God bless it.
How about I just go out on a limb and say you will go places on your all-terrains that you will be shocked.
Without question.
I know a guy that has a very awesome, capable Jeep with a trailer towed behind it that does amazing things on all terrains.
very, very stretchy, illuminated Jeep.
Yes.
So, and that's the thing. So, the all-terrain market historically has been very strong with the KO series BF Goodrich.
Yes. There's a reason why the tread pattern really hasn't changed. It's been updated a few times.
It's been updated a couple times, but not, historically, we're talking 30 years.
Ever.
Yes.
And the only time they let me down was when I got in really inappropriate mud.
Thick, sloppy, snotty mud.
Really,
right?
It's dumb of me.
Now, here's the thing. If you're actively going to be off-road, I love a mud tire. Let that big, chunky lug air that tire down. Let it just smack and beat against things.
And it makes huge difference in the capability.
Trees. Absolutely. It makes a big old difference. But to the average consumer, they get that mud tire and they think they're pretty excited.
Yeah. Now, if your Jeep event or your going out Jeeping is going to Bantam, put an all-terrain on it.
I'm not sure where you're going with that.
I'm just saying, like, if you have
one event a year,
yes, put all-terrains on it.
Okay, I'm with you.
If you're 5 times a year going to an actual off-road park, then you need a hybrid or a mud tire. That's where
I would even
Scott's
go as far as saying if
2 cents.
65% of your time is spent on the highway,
AT is going to cut it. And there are not all ATs are created equal as well. There are quieter versions and so on and so forth. Now, a quick rundown of tread design. The closer the tread in general is interlocked around. Well, first of all, if it's kind of straight banded, right? So it's just a nice big round circle and the tread is kind of nice and close together. That's more of a highway tire.
Yes.
And it's going to be very quiet.
And if you're ever wondering what a highway tire is, just look at a semi that's on the steer axle or the front of the truck.
Yep.
They want that tire to run true, straight, and last.
And forever. Last forever, right?
Because they're putting miles on in a week that we do in a year.
Correct. So then what ends up happening is we start to chunk open that nice straight banded section. And so we get into a slightly more aggressive, though I'm concerned to even use that word, highway tire, where it's just more of a car tire. And you can see it has these little, little chunks that will help channel water and road debris away from those primary, circular bands running around the tire or tracks. Those tracks are meant to basically allow the vehicle's weight and the load to be transferred, kind of on a couple different little channels versus, say, slicks that you see at a racetrack on a race car.
Those channels are for water to escape and get out.
Correct. And so that's the idea then, as we chop up that tread design, our objective is to try and move the road debris, the water, the sleet, slush, ice, and snow out of our tread, maintaining more pressure from the tire touching the actual road surface.
If you've ever had a smooth garage floor and you've put water on it, and then you get out your squeegee and you see how it makes the concrete dry, that is what your tire is trying to do in its treads width.
And the more chopping and chunking that you do, those are kind of wear, right? So that's just more surface area to wear down faster. And so that's the idea. So if we start at this rudimentary, like what is a highway tire, and then kind of keep going forward, or building upon that design. So now as we space out that tread design and we chunk it out larger and larger, the tire gets more aggressive. It has harsher road conditions because now there's all of these big chunks hitting the road as it rotates around.
Yep.
And it gets louder.
It's fun when you can be in a Jeep and you can literally feel this when you're at a traffic light, slowly getting up to the traffic light.
And that's going to naturally happen with an MT tire that's driven primarily on the road.
especially without frequent rotations.
And so
and maybe we should quantify what a frequent rotation is.
3,000 to 5,000 miles.
Yep.
Every 3,000 to 5,000 miles, you should be rotisserrating your tires.
So sometimes that's
in 5
faster
positions.
than your oil change.
Correct. Without question, I stand behind that 100%.
100%. And I see all the time, if you get 10, 15, 20,000 miles, that's too late.
Without 100%. I mean, that's where I'm at with Jen's STT Pros. I'm at a 3,000, roughly 4,000. I tell myself 3 so I can hit it by 4.
Yep.
1,000-mile rotation on our tires. And I am rotating off cycle of the oil changes.
Yep.
Because realistically, it needs oil change around 7,000.
Or I do everything at 5, tire and oil.
Yeah. So, and for me, it's just trying to make her tires last longer.
Yeah.
And gotta.
And I really think it depends on the tire, the use, the brand, that kind of stuff all plays a factor into it.
So my father-in-law just chimed in too with semi tires. He was listening in and said semi steer tires, and he sent a couple of pictures. I don't know if you want to look through those.
Well, that's what we were talking about. Those semi. Oh, this is an open lug on this. He's doing.
He's doing some off-roading with that semi.
He is. Just listen.
He does some logging.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say I ran open lug tires. So here's the thing: open lugs is what you're gonna maybe refer to on when it comes to a semi or more over the road type vehicle. You're gonna call it open lug design. For us, we're gonna call it a mud tire. And the big thing that I haven't talked about yet but is critically important, are called bites and sipes.
Yep.
Okay, and this is where the men become the boys, the girls become the women, and bites and sipes differentiate a traditional mud tire from a hybrid and or anything else tire.
Yep.
Bites and sipes allow if you were to look
They're
at a brand new
squeegees.
tire, they are the little squeegee pieces that grab and throw the water, the road debris, the junk,
Yep.
all that kind of stuff.
And I feel like if you go back in BFG specifically's mud train and you look at the early ones, you have none of that. And then as you move forward, they're adding very big ones, but they are trying to add some bites and sipes to the tread.
And here's the big thing, folks, and this is what I love the science behind it. It breaks up surface tension.
Yep.
That is its primary purpose. Is if we were to take again, let's go with the concrete floor on your
Yep.
garage.
And you got a flat paddle.
And you got a flat, and basically at that point in time, now what happens is that water has nowhere to go from the garage to
Yep.
this flat rubber surface or paddle surface. And so what ultimately happens is a thin layer of water. Every single time it is hydroplaning at
Yep.
that point in time is the basic concept. And so if we can break up the surface tension of that little plane of water that is
Yep.
compressed between the rubber and the floor, the ground surface.
Suddenly you're not in a ditch.
So think of it like a belly flop into a pool.
Okay.
That's true too.
A belly flop into a pool is going to hurt
Ooh,
because
we
you're,
could do
you're
a
not breaking up
test
the surface
Or
tension.
you get a belly thing with tread on it.
Okay.
But if
Into a
you
pool.
if you jump into the pool feet first, it breaks up that surface tension. It doesn't hurt
No,
jumping
I
in.
want to do the
Interesting.
belly thing with the tread belly. Come on, man.
We could do that.
You know I'm here for it too.
I know you
I
are.
know you
I am.
are.
I would be.
Davey would so
I did,
film that.
I did a painful belly flop for my kids a week or two ago, just
Oh.
just to do it.
See, if you
you
would have
know?
had a tread belly, you wouldn't have
I
hurt.
would have had a tread. I could have had a right if I would have had a
We
tread
can
belly.
market that.
A tread-
Have you belly flopped? Have you been in pain?
Folks, that's going to be Jeff's next video. Have you tried bites and sipes on your all-terrain tires? All right. So hybrid tires take the technology we know on all-terrains, so some of our most famous all-terrain tires, and they add tread design features to mud terrains.
Yep. It's all terrain, and the mud train had a baby.
And that is a crossover, a hybrid tire at that point in time.
Yep.
And quite frankly, most of your leading products that you might just be innately aware of are currently hybrid tires. Or for the sake of, like, say, a KM3, that is just taking all of its design elements from a hybrid tire itself. And they're still calling it the KM series, which is technically a mud tire.
Yep.
But ultimately, that tread design allows that mud terrain, because what basically the tire manufacturers, they're not dumb. They go,
No.
people want these tires
Yep.
because they look cool,
Yep.
but they also don't want to get into an accident,
Yes.
and they want to use it in the snow.
Yep. And you can see that too with the sidewalls of all terrains. Used to be really kind of boring. And
Without
they weren't
question.
very impressive. And
Yes.
now people are leaving the tread kind of, I would say, boring. But the sidewall of the tire, where you're actually looking at it, looks impressive.
They're jazzing it up.
They're jazzing it up.
It looks aggressive. My Nitto tires literally have snake skin on them. Not by my design. That's
No.
just what Nitto did. Whatever.
Yep.
There's ones that have claws. There was a great tire. I don't know. I think they were acquired by somebody. They had barbed wire on the side of them, and
Yep.
at first, like, we were all making fun of it, but then,
Yep.
like, the tire just flat out
They
worked.
had, shotgun shells or shells on one of the tires. Remember
Yeah.
those?
Yep.
Yeah. Flame tread. Remember that?
Flame tread, 100%. So, and there is some tire manufacturers will try to make themselves feel a little better about life and claim that there is benefit, that those little tread designs do create side biting technology.
Yeah. They're just
Again,
justifying.
They're justifying, but it is the idea. They're justifying it under the pretense that it's breaking up that surface tension, that if I have a smooth sidewall
Yeah.
passing over kind of a muddy side, and it's not
Yeah.
actually grabbing anything. Whereas I throw a couple little textured pieces,
Yeah. It breaks the
um,
suction too.
breaks the suction on it. I mean, I'll give it to them. I don't know if you need skulls and crossbones and shotgun shells on the side of your tire, which were all things that have happened in the last 20 years.
Yep.
I would like to know where those tire molds are today.
Right.
Where are those tire molds?
I think they're on a back lot somewhere.
Oh yeah, they are. They're in a cargo ship sitting in California, just forgotten about in a shipping container on the back lot. You know. Tell us what you're running on your Jeep, folks. Right? Are you an MT guy? Obviously, we know Harper is. I've got crossovers. I've got MTs on Chuck.
And tell us how you use them.
How
often do you go off road?
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Big thing is we just got recently. We've had a couple customers, both with all terrains and mud tires in that were factory, and a customer came in with a complaint, going, "Hey, my Jeep's kind of all
over the place.
all hopscotchy on me." And we're going, "Dude, your tires are smoked. Jeep's healthy.
Yep.
Jeep is healthy. Jeep's great."
Yep.
And unfortunately, as those tires wear down and they start to chop and do crummy things, it then does take out the rest of your suspension and components and whatnot. So
I do concur, Chuck.
Chuck, KO2, good on everything except mud, and yes, we've proven that actually when we tried to recover Greg.
Yep. In your situation.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So definitely something to consider, folks, when you're choosing your tires, and if you are looking at that used JK that's still running around on its original KM2s, and there are a handful out there.
Get them off there.
Get them off there. They're great for a trail rig. They're absolutely great for the. Oh, Keith's got the SS Ving for the Milestar. Interesting. I think that's the all-terrain. I'd love to know how that is. So let us know how you're using them. Get your KMs off. Take your Firestone destinations off. I'm trying not to start a fight with Firestone, but I haven't ran a Firestone tire that I like.
We're the generation that doesn't feel comfortable driving Firestone. Just saying.
I'm just saying. Why the mothership has that corporate agreement still? I don't know. If you're a Firestone guy, let us know. Tell us something.
Wrong.
Prove us wrong. Amen to that. So, all right, let's rock and roll. Switch it. Hashtag.
Do you want to do that? Or do you
Hashtag
want to talk
not
about Chuck
sponsored.
real quick?
I'm going to read that. Scott's going to talk about lights that I don't know anything about.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
you weren't ready.
No.
You weren't ready.
What happened, Jeff?
Jeff,
You have one
job.
It's time for our product spotlight. Hashtag not sponsored. Spotlight. Hashtag not sponsored.
So these lights are brand new, and they come in 3 different flavors of light. This is the bright white, which honestly I think if you're going LEDs, you just do this. There is also a yellow and then yellowist light. I don't understand, Holly, why you did that. If you're hung up on your light looking period correct, the output, why are you buying LEDs? Just saying. Anyway, with that aside, these are all their stuff. I can't see it, and definitely, Neil can't.
I'm not going to know anything.
But Craig was able to look through this lens and see the Holly stamp right on the LED.
Give me that light.
He did.
BS.
And then I was able to look at it. It was a challenge, but it's in there.
you're never going to be able to see it now. We already know that.
Give me my flashlight and a magnifying glass.
So one of the things I think is really nice about this light, first, impressions, is you can see how small.
I found it, guys. I found it. I'm not that blind yet. All right, sorry.
Anyway,
I'm so excited.
So on the back of this, see how small this is? That's a big deal for our early Jeeps. A lot of LEDs have a huge heat sink right here. And our Jeeps prior, I'll say 07, says even TJs would sort of function, suffer from this. That huge heat sink runs into everything that light has to interfere with. So in a CJ, it's really bad. You have a metal bucket that forms around this really tightly. This is going to fit great. The newer ones, not so much. This is metal back here, this is their heat sink, which is a really good idea. Right up here, we have a vent for air flow, and then this is plastic, which I am actually pro.
So the lens is plastic.
But it looks like glass.
But it looks like glass. And if you've ever had, glass lights, you know that rocks and some things
Certainly.
will break them. This will bounce off.
And I am a person. What a bright idea that heatsink was. Badooch.
Yes.
Um,
I'm here for the dad jokes.
I on Chuck Norris because I wanted it to look like a CJ.
Yep.
I bought they're a glass housing, but they accept our aftermarket replacement bulbs.
Yep.
And they're terrible. They're absolutely
Yes.
awful design.
And I tried to do the housing replacements early on and found out all the bad things.
So I'm excited about
Oh,
these retro
I am
mods,
very
right?
excited
'Cause
about these.
that could actually give me a light that's aimable, that's a pleasing color, that's
Yep.
not going to
And it looks retro.
make angry every person that I'm on the road with.
And it's plug and play for all of our 3-prong standard outlet. You probably remember the name of that outlet.
What, the H3H4 series?
There you
Is
go.
that what... That's all right.
And I believe they even make these the smaller diameter for, like my Rambler and other vehicles. So that's exciting as well. These are brand new. Another thing important to say is as you get to the yellower, they're a different K rating. This is a 5,700 K. I don't remember exactly what the other ones were, but again, why would you buy a yellow light?
Usually
Just saying.
that temperature is what sets the color, so the
Yeah.
lower numbers are more yellow.
I think that ultimately, and that's just a piece that's going to be a little lost on us, but that person who really wants that period feel of that. I know. I
My
like
36 Ford is as traditional as you can get, and it has halogen headlights in it.
I know, but I'm just saying
Same.
there are
but
there are
the
people out
benefit
there
of
who,
it, and I'm gonna say I would be one that if I wanted the period correct color, I would do LED still.
yeah, but then you want that period, you want that very period piece.
The
You almost want it to not look like it's been restored.
but the nice thing about the LED, you don't have to constantly change them out.
100%. But
That's a
we're
convenience.
resto mod guys, Scott.
Yes,
we're
we are.
resto mod,
We are.
and the thing is, we can do originality. You
If they're
proved
going to
that
go
years
with
ago.
yellow, then they should make this in 6-volt. Just saying.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah!
stop.
All right,
Wow.
stop.
Wow.
Stop. All right, folks, we are going to touch on one little piece of information that has been shared to us from one of our enthusiasts here who's listening and viewing right along with you. We have this press release. The source is the RK Motor Charlotte Sales Service Consignment. So I don't know who this is. Yeah, I mean, good for them. They're running a they're doing a nice little journalistic piece here. And it talks about heavily modified 4x4s will soon roll out of the factory gates. That's our catching title.
Yep.
It talks about the Blade. So the Toledo Blade, brilliant, influential newspaper still in Toledo, has recently covered the fact that Jeep is looking to enter the aftermarket by opening a customization facility near its factory in Toledo. Investing $23 million in the site potentially, and hopes of selling turnkey modified 4x4s, creating some jobs for the local area at that time. Blade goes on to say that they're basically taking over a piece of property that was previously a supply chain manufacturer for our Jeep Chrysler vehicles. They have not unveiled exactly who is going to be operating this aftermarket installation facility. Speculation says that maybe it could be an in-house tuner for the Fiat Chrysler automobiles. They don't exactly know yet, but it kind of goes on to talk about some people, who are influential in doing some upfitting that has been, traditionally found in the aftermarket, things that we are doing ourselves. And for years, I've joked that Jeep is systematically kind of trying to, do away with our line of business, and I'm here to support them, mainly because we keep adapting and changing in our processes and our expectations and things that we can bring to the market. And so it's a really good little article, actually. Maybe we can link to it if you want to look it out. Look at it yourself. They're selling the site for $1 to somebody, and Toledo City Council. It's a formality, then a challenge. Blah 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 blah.
So Jeep bought it for $1.
Jeep bought it
with the buyback guarantee that if they don't develop it, the city buys it back.
Here's the thing. and just so valuable. If you don't know me, I'm into all of this. Like, this is the stuff, I this company is, yes, we build Jeeps. Yes, we can do things with them that most people can't. Scott and Greg are, chiefs of industry as far as what they can build and in the manner in which they can do it. I'm a business guy. I love this stuff. I eat it up, and I've been doing this with the big mothership for years and the shows and all that kind of stuff. There are some extreme liabilities with them trying to do this. Do I believe that somebody in the industry, in that higher up level, wants this to happen? I do. Mm-hmm. Do I believe that they can actually bring it to fruition under their current federal regulatory issues? They cannot.
No.
Just
the crash test alone would be a nightmare.
Correct.
Let alone the mile per gallon thing.
There is a whole level of things of insulation that would need to be taken into consideration. We are potentially, my guess is, at minimum of a decade off before we saw something viable, something similar to the slinky suspensions and the performance modifications that immediately blow carb compliance and performance and fuel mileage regulations out of the window that most of our specific customers love. They crave. When you can get into that 2.0 Jeep and punch the gas and smoke the tires, Big Mama's not going to do that for you. They're going to put a nice 2-inch lift kit on. They're going to put a nice tire wheel package on. They're going to put some big bumpers, and
don't forget the light bars.
They're going to put some light bars on, and those things are all going
Only
to be
Rubicons,
quality
because those have lockers.
Because they have lockers, but they're going to be quality, and that's the thing. If you go back and you find my as we're walking through Toledo, and I'm walking past the Dana Spicer booth. And we stumble upon the Jeep booth, which understandably at the Toledo Jeep Festival, the Jeep booth itself was about yay big. So let's see how in tune they are with the actual aftermarket and support. But they did have a beautiful set of headlights on. Any free samples at the Dana Spicer booth, Ryan?
You can get a sticker.
And a poster. We really need Jeep to be receptive to our industry needs. Do I think they're going to do a great job when they do finally release something? Yes, but it's going to be for that average consumer who's coming up to the dealership to buy kind of
the middle of the bologna sandwich.
Yep.
It's the people that watch Easter Jeep Safari and go, ooh, I want that one.
I want to do that. Right? It's not the optimized off-road rigs. It's not the big, fire-breathing, engine performance, supercharged engine swap, so on and so forth. With that said, I am privy to Jeep manufacturing people who are actively working within the aftermarket, doing some test and tune stuff. So understand that it's not so far-fetched that it couldn't happen.
Yeah.
Chuck leaves us with no Amazon bolt-on boys here. Thank you. I don't think they'll be doing that, but who knows? Who knows? Everything to save $1, I guess. All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed this episode number 39 of the I Speak Jeep podcast. We got a lot of cool topics coming up in the future. We've got CB versus GMRS. We're going to have Allison from Duck Duck Jeep ideally in the near future. We're going to ask you, how did you get into Jeeping? We're going to do a Q&A with us, Stump the Chumps, and we're going to talk to our insurance agents and say, hey, how should we be insuring our rigs? So a lot of really interesting subjects in the near future. You're not going to want to miss that. Make sure you head over to our new YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe over there, the I Speak Jeep podcast on YouTube, which is slightly different than the SFJ 4x4 TV, which obviously has entertaining vlogs and how-tos. You can find that tire rotation video, tire pressure, chalk test video, build updates, Tech Tuesday stuff, all that kind of goodies happening over there. And then if you're joining us audibly, we appreciate you using your favorite streaming platform. Make sure you think about leaving us a review. Go to Audible, Spotify, iTunes, whatever. Make sure you like it. Give us a review. Let everybody know how you're enjoying the podcast. Anything else for the good of the order? Their stickers, $4.19, supports this podcast directly.
And don't forget the shirts.
And the shirts, the I Speak Jeep, we had a couple people asking about that. We'll have those available on the website soon. If you're interested in them now, you got to order your shape, size, and color through Facebook Messenger at this exact moment. Anything else, folks? We appreciate you being an important part of our podcast. We've got work to do. We've got Jeeps to build. We got problems to solve. We're out of here. Jeep on.
Jeep on.